witnesses please stand? If you would affirm the oath as I complete its reading, do you affirm that the testimony you're about to give before the committee will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Thank you very much. I'll introduce the two witnesses on this panel. The first is United States Attorney John Walsh. He has served as United States Attorney for Colorado since August of 2010, after he was unanimously confirmed by the Senate. As United States Attorney, he was responsible for supervising and coordinating the federal investigation of the mass shooting at a movie theater in Aurora, Colorado. Since becoming U.S. Attorney, before becoming United States Attorney, Mr. Walsh was a member of the law firm Hill & Robbins and a partner in the law firm Holland & Hart. Earlier in his career, he served as chief of the major fraud section of the United States Attorney's Office in Los Angeles, and supervising 35 assistant U.S. attorneys prosecuting white-collar offenses. If the two of you will go ahead, please, and the degree to which you can keep the remarks to 5 minutes so there's an opportunity for questioning would be appreciated. Could you activate your mic? There's a button right there. Pull it up as close as you can.
Thank you. Thank you. Madam Chairman, members of the Judiciary Committee, it's a privilege to present the views of the Department of Justice on the need to protect the American public by limiting access to dangerous military-style assault weapons and high-capacity magazines. Reasonable limitations on these weapons are supported by a majority of Americans, and now more than ever. Although the department does not yet have a position on any particular legislative proposal in this area, we're confident the ban can be implemented in a way that protects the public without interfering with the constitutional rights of law-abiding American citizens. On behalf of the Department of Justice, I want to thank you, Senator Feinstein, for your tireless efforts over the years to enact legislation to address the plague of gun violence in our country. Now, Colorado has a history steeped in frontier traditions of gun ownership and respect for the Second Amendment. But at the same time, Coloradans have witnessed gun tragedies on a scale that frankly we could never have imagined. Coloradans have been profoundly shaken by the senseless mass shootings at Columbine in 1999 and the most recent Aurora theater shooting in 2012, as well as the chilling events in Tucson, Newtown, and in other communities all around the United States. These events remind us that individuals who are intent on inflicting mass casualties have ready access to the tools that they need to inflict maximum damage in a matter of moments, even seconds. Military-style assault weapons and high-capacity magazines that hold 20, 30, or in the case of the Aurora shooting, 100 rounds of ammunition are both lawful at the federal level and widely available. These weapons are not necessary for sporting or self-defense purposes and are properly subject to regulation, reasonable regulation, under the Second Amendment. As a longtime federal prosecutor and now sitting U.S. Attorney, I share the view of most law enforcement professionals that shutting off the flow of military-style assault weapons and high-capacity magazines is a top public safety priority. Of course, it has to be coupled with other sensible measures as well. Continued aggressive enforcement of the existing firearms laws, new laws to prohibit particularly firearms trafficking and to require universal background checks on private firearms transfers, and enhanced background checks to identify people who are properly prohibited from possessing weapons, such as people with mental illnesses or those with felony or domestic violence convictions. The types of weapons that the department believes should be banned include firearms that were originally designed to be military implements, crafted to be as effective as possible in killing human beings. The power, rate of fire, and the efficiency of these firearms is the reasons that they have become weapons of choice for mass shooters, criminal gangs, and drug trafficking organizations. We also must eliminate or limit the ability of shooters to inflict massive numbers of fatalities in a matter of minutes through the use of high-capacity magazines that can hold more than 10 rounds. A high-capacity magazine can turn any weapon into a tool of mass violence, even a handgun. In fact, the mass shootings at Virginia Tech, at Tucson, Arizona, Oak Creek, Wisconsin, and at Fort Hood, Texas, all involved handguns using magazines with more than 10 rounds. High-capacity magazines are not required for defending one's home. They are not required for hunting or sport shooting. Their purpose is to enable shooters to inflict maximum damage on human beings. Frankly, forcing such a person to stop and reload can save lives, as was the case in Tucson, Arizona, when a 30-round magazine ran out and the shooter had to reload, whereupon he was tackled. As the United States Attorney for Colorado, I go to bed every night in these months since July 2012, wondering whether I will be awakened by another pre-dawn call like the one I received on July 20th of last year, which notified me of the horrifying mass shooting in Aurora, or whether I will receive calls like those I've since received from other U.S. attorneys around the country confronting the same sort of horror in their own home state. I'm proud to serve as the United States Attorney for Colorado, the state I grew up in. Colorado is a state that proudly honors American traditions, very much including the ownership and use of firearms as guaranteed by the Second Amendment of the Constitution. I share those values. But I also share the view of most law enforcement professionals and ordinary Americans that reasonable proposals to restrict the manufacture, importation, and sale of military-style assault weapons and high-capacity magazines are needed to protect the American people. I urge this committee to act. Thank you very much.
Thank you.